the reflection through the times. As you know, Batman has changed over time and evolved from its first beginnings. It first started off with Bob Kane. Well, basically, Bob Kane created Batman in actually he got published in 1939. So his first appearance of Batman was actually, I'm sorry, DC Comics. DC Comics stands for Detective Comics. And believe it or not, he didn't show up until number 27 on 1939. Now, where did he get that idea? Where did Bob Kane get the idea of making Batman? Well, he grew up in the Bronx, New York, so it was actually part of his environment. And what he used to do was he used to invite the neighborhood kids to watch his favorite superhero, which was Zorro. So that's Bob Kane right there. And hit it again. We moved on to, after 1939, around 1945 was the first time that Batman actually went into radio. So he wasn't actually the star of it. He actually had to do a guest appearance as Batman and Robin in the Adventures of Superman. So, as you can see, 1950, they tried to have Batman get his own TV show. So they were unsuccessful and they were unable to get Batman on the radio. However, on 1966, on January 12th, Batman came onto the live screen in the television. And he was actually broadcast on ABC, and it lasted 3 seasons before it actually got canceled. So, click on it. And what happened was, because of this show, it started to affect the comic books. It became more campy. And Batman was more like, well, let's go to the beach with Robin. And, you know, it had that campy feel to it where all of a sudden the comic books started to decline. So DC had a problem in their hands where they had an identity crisis on what to do with Batman. So what they did was they decided to give new artists a chance. These 2 new artists, which was Dennis O'Neil and Neal Adams, created a book called The Secrets of the Wailing Grave, which was around 1972. And this actually paved the way on the Batman we know. However, because people were still on the fence about it and most of the writers were still into the campy stage, they still had 2 different Batmans on their hand. So then Frank Miller came into the scene, and he actually made The Dark Knight Returns. This novel actually set the tone for what we know Batman to be today. This dark, gritty, conflicted human being on, wanting to get revenge for his family. And what happened was, because of this new style that Batman had, people started to enjoy it again. So the sales started picking up again. And what we know Batman to be now is basically a reincarnation of both Dennis O'Neil, Neal Adams, and Frank Miller's Batman. So what happened? Batman created a few other movies. Now we're not gonna even talk about the animated movies because they actually made their own money, but we're talking about box office money here. So as you can see, here's the first Batman movie. this was still on the campy era, and it still had much of the, campy style to it. But as you continue on during the 1989, the second Batman movie that we know, the third Batman movie, which was Batman Returns, it got more grittier and darker. And toward the end, if you guys recognize, this is going to be the new Batman. So this is actually Ben Affleck as the new Batman. It's grossed over close to $2 billion in just the 8 movies alone. You can put the rest of them, yeah. The 8 movies alone already grossed $2 billion. So, in conclusion, I want you guys to realize that this is actually part of our culture. Batman grew up with us. Batman changed because of our culture, and if it wasn't for his change, he probably would have died out in time. So the next time you go watch a Batman movie, just have that in mind, that he's evolved with you. Thank you.